I have tested the Xbox Series X, both the performance and the quality mode for Metal Gear Solid Delta, and I even went and bought an Xbox Series S to test the performance on the Xbox Series S because the last video was popping off, so I figured that I would take a look at the other console and see how it is faring. And guess what? Performance is comparably problematic. Let's dive into it. So, long story short, I hopped into the game. I dove right into the section where we tested on the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro, and I'm just going to put the Pro next to the Xbox Series X performance here and show you a little bit of a comparison to put them side by side. You know what? Maybe I'll just do performance. So scratch that. Let's start over. We're going to do the performance mode next to the performance mode. And as you can see, frame rate is basically comparable. It looks like this section, especially when you go around this corner and blow up these barrels, it just seems to tank the frame rate. Even when we look at my PC test, which was just done on Shadowplay, if I'm being totally honest, we're just using Shadowplay. I turn the overlay on, very, very simple, basic way to test some basic frame rate analysis. You can see that it is also tanking the PC. And as mentioned in my previous video, I have a 4090, a 79, I think it's the 7950 X3D, AMD processor, and plenty of 64 gigs of RAM, plenty of RAM and everything. So it just seems like Metal Gear Solid Delta, as it stands today, it's just not all that well optimized. And that's just the long and the short of it. Now, why are so many people asking me to do this analysis? Well, long story short, it's because in my original review, I did mention that there are performance issues on the PlayStation, and there were some performance issues on the PC, but I didn't really dive into it. A few people know that I can do this sort of testing. I think they wanted a little bit more of an analysis. They felt like I glossed over it in the original review. So here you go. Performance is bad across the board. So take that information and do with it what you will. But let's dive into all of the platforms here for just a second. So I do not have any Digital Foundry comparison, so I just did my best at some pixel counting, the Xbox Series S being the hardest to pixel count, and the number I'm getting on the Xbox Series S, I guess we'll be able to test my methodology and quality control my pixel counting. For Xbox Series S, I got 612p to 684p on the Xbox Series S. The Xbox Series X quality mode, I actually got 1440p, which is basically what it says it's trying to pull off. So kudos to the Xbox Series X, I guess, for being able to bump up that resolution a little bit. And the Xbox Series X performance mode, I was getting also on the lower end of that scale, 756p or 787p were the two pixel counts I got. Now, if we compare this to what Digital Foundry got for the PlayStation 5 Pro, the PlayStation 5 Performance, and the PlayStation 5 Quality mode, the Xbox Series X Performance mode is actually coming in where the PlayStation 5 Pro Performance mode did in terms of base resolution. It is also not doing well against the base PlayStation 5 performance mode. It's coming in a little bit lower there. And then the quality mode, the Xbox seems to get the edge in terms of quality mode, and the Xbox Series S is just, it's doing the best it can, you guys, okay? So in all seriousness, I was surprised by two things in my findings. First of all, I was surprised that the Xbox Series X quality mode was doing so well. It seemed like it was getting a little bit of a higher resolution, and the frame rate looked somewhat stable. I actually have the project open over here. Yeah, quality mode seemed to be able to handle 30 frames per second a lot better than the PlayStation version did. Now, to be fair, there's sacrifices being made in all the Xbox versions, there's sacrifices being made in all the PlayStation versions, and even the PC version is having optimization issues. So if I had a piece of feedback for Konami, it would be, please take some time, the game is out now, so I guess it would be like the day zero patch, like when the game comes out to everybody in the public, where you're able to fix these optimization issues. This is a great game. I still had a blast with it, but it is unfortunate to see that there is a bit of chugging here. You know, the little console that could, the Xbox Series S, honestly, it's doing pretty well at 30 frames per second, just like the quality mode of the PlayStation. It's better, but in those high action sequences, you are seeing a lot of degradation of image quality, to the point where on the Xbox Series S, things are getting so muddy that it's making those pixel counts even harder to do. So I'm doing my best with these. Obviously, I said in the previous video, check the beams if you want to try and do some of the pixel counting yourself. It's not something that I'm a master at, and I really should just maybe ask Digital Foundry guys, hey, no, they're not going to tell me their secret sauce. But anyway, when we take everything we found and we put them side by side, it's pretty clear that all platforms are struggling, especially in this section. And as I said in my previous video, go watch the Digital Foundry analysis, because they do a really good job of showing what the PlayStation 5 Pro has decided to focus on in terms of resolution, whereas they're also sacrificing the frame rate. Konami just doesn't seem to be all that concerned about frame rate for this particular version of the game for some reason, and that's unfortunate. If you want to go see my full playthrough of the Metal Gear Solid PC version, you can go see my full playthrough basically of Metal Gear Solid Delta over on my gameplay channel, and it was done so on PC. Long story short, I think that the console version is unfortunately sacrificing a lot to hit a not locked 60 frames per second. The PC version doesn't have enough options within the gameplay and graphic option menu. You should be able to unlock your frame rate. Unfortunately, you're locked into choosing either 30 or 60. On the PlayStation 5 and on the PlayStation 5 Pro, it's weird to me that there's not an option, especially on the Pro, to just say, just give me a locked 60 or give me a locked 30. They just kind of decided to go their own way. And well, I do stand by that I had a blast with Metal Gear Solid Delta. I hopped on and played it today, and at least on the PC, I'm not overly negatively impacted by the performance issues, because, you know, I don't normally go around blowing up barrels and such. No, most of the time I'm just sort of stealthing around. But I'm going to be really curious to see what your reaction is to it now that it is available to the public. So real quick, just to recap, none of the platforms are particularly well optimized. My feedback to Konami would be that I love Metal Gear Solid 3. I love Metal Gear Solid Delta. I still give it a lot of praise, but these performance issues absolutely should be corrected, and they should have been corrected before any of the public was able to get access to the game. It's really unfortunate, because otherwise this is quite spectacular. You have a lot of cool things in here for your fans that I think they're really going to appreciate. The Bomberman mini games, the unlockable Konami mystery game from when Snake has the nightmare in the jail cell, that's available in here. You obviously spend a lot of time and care making Volume 1 and Metal Gear Solid Delta, but I really wish you would talk to Digital Foundry or some of these hardcore fans that are trying to tell you how to just take it to that next level. Obviously you care. I just wished that you cared enough to make sure that optimization was there on day one, because that is a big sticking point for me. So even though I enjoyed the game, there are performance issues, and those should be corrected. And especially on the console, the performance has some shockingly negative impact to your overall gameplay. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know my content goes live. I do appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. Thank you so much to the members, Chris Fratty, Phil Aroni, and Aries AMS, as well as Shane Carroll. I greatly appreciate you. Thank you so much. You can check out my PlayStation 5 analysis or my review here, and I will see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.